Good evening, everyone. How everyone is doing today? Fantastic. We have completed the third day of the week. That means you are middle of the week now, and I believe you have achieved your 50% of progress for the week. Am I right? So now probably most of you have completed your day and might be traveling back to home and started just commuting. So I just want you to tune with me for next 10 to 15 minutes because today actually I'm going to talk with you one more challenge we mid-career project manager face in the offices during the project meetings when someone is started blaming or somebody started putting a negative comments on you. Okay, how will you handle the blaming in the project meetings? Okay, so I'll go more deep in the topic later, but first of all I would like to quickly introduce to all those who are first time listening to me. Hello, everyone. This is Tushar Chaudhary, your leadership coach, and I help mid senior project managers. And when I say project manager, means you are coming from technical or non-technical background. Doesn't matter if you are dealing, if you are working on an assignment where you deal with time, cost, quality, resources, stakeholders. You have communication, different modules or modes of communication. I call them all as project managers. Okay, because you handling all these multiple dimensions of delivering the work. Okay, now you might be having 15, 20, 20, more than 20 plus years of experience, and you have achieved that expertise in your domain. And now because of that expertise you become very comfortable with the work which you are working on, and you find it very exciting. You finding it very easy for you to do that one, and it becomes a comfort zone for you. And somewhere this actually causing you or blocking you for going to the next level, because the people who are sitting at the top in your organization, they are they started they started defining you, or they started realizing that you are actually enjoying that technical stuff. They're enjoying that execution work, the delivery work. And whenever such a situation comes when there is a need of someone who can deliver the works, they identify you as the right person. Okay, and so that's what their perception about you. But on the other hand, you thinking that, oh, I'm delivering such a great work, I'm actually getting a lot of feedbacks, positive feedbacks, I'm performing superb, I'm delivering the work to the highest quality level, but still I'm not going to the next level. You believing that my work will go to my work will help me, my performance will help me, my experience will help me to go to the next level. And this perception gap between you thinking about yourself and others thinking about yourself is a huge gap. And this is where I help you guys to fill that gap. Because these people at the top in your organization, they will not going to fill this gap. They don't they really don't bother about it. It is your career, and you need to take an ownership to fill this gap if you really want to go to the next level of leadership career. Okay, and that is where I help you to build your ecosystem of influence, where you work every day 24 by 7, aligning with your core leadership values, your core leadership character. Okay, and through that you're creating impact on the people in the organization, the people you're working with, your stakeholders. You're creating influence, and finally you're attracting opportunities towards you. Okay, so that's about me. Now let me quickly go into the topic, today's topic. So before I go, I just want to start with a moment that project managers really hate. Let's say you are in a project review meeting and everything is going fine, and suddenly someone says, now this delay happened because of your team, you should have handled this matter better, this is your responsibility. And in that moment what happens? Your heart rate goes up, your mind starts defending, your voice changes, and without realizing, you stop leading and start protecting yourself. How many of you agree with me? Yeah, have you experienced this one, or have you seen this with someone else? Yeah, just type this in the comment section. See, let me reframe this for you. Let me tell you something very clear. See, blaming is not the problem. Your reaction to the blame is the problem. And I personally, when I observed my previous experiences, I was actually reacting to the blame in these project meetings. And I understood this very deeply when I read the book Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. That's the book. Ego is the Enemy. Now, Ryan, he said in his book that our ego reacts instantly to protect our image. And that's exactly what happens in meetings. So instead of responding, we react. Do you agree with me? Yeah. So I'll share with you a real workplace story from my project experiences. See, we were in a very high pressure review. There was a delay due to multiple dependencies. And suddenly, a senior stakeholder said, Tushar, this is clearly poor planning from your side. And the room becomes silent. All eyes on me. The earlier version of me would have defended immediately, would have explained everything. I would have, given a justification. I would have shifted the blame to someone else. But that day, no, I chose differently. I paused and I said, okay, I understand your concern. Now let me clarify what happened in this and what we are going to do with it, what we are going to fix it. Then I explain the actual cause, the context, and then I help them to understand the impact of that situation. And then I also gave them a recovery plan. No emotion, no blame. So, what I did there is I I ensured that to maintain the transparency with everyone. I want people to first understand the context of this situation, because many times the stakeholders, obviously they get panicked because they have some stake on it. They have promised to their clients, and now they're depending on you. So I need to give them a context, but what actually the reason, what actually happened there. And then, so that means you should acknowledge that the situation is not really good. I mean, it's not good, and that means you should be acknowledging that. And then, so the purpose of when you, the moment you acknowledge, the people who are panicked, at least they get some message that you are not trying to run away from the situation, and you actually aware of that. That's actually the message you're passing. But then there is no point in only sharing the context or you acknowledging. You also need to give them uh, you need to give them a message that I'm aware of the situation, and I'm also aware that what it is actually impacting to, what where exactly it is impacting to. Okay. So the moment I shared the impact also, their panicness has reduced little. But again, still they have a question. Okay, they're still in that anxiety mode, or that panic mode. That okay, you know this thing, you are aware of the situation, you know there's impact happen. What next? Are you going to just be with it, or what? Are you going to solve it? What do you have any suggestion for us to work on it? So the third thing which I did it, the moment I shared the impact of that act situation, I mentioned to people that I have some plan to recover this situation. I have some solutions to work on it. Would you like to explore that with me? Would you like to have a quick discussions with that one? Okay. So what I've done, I set up a context first, then I tell them the impact, and then I mention them the different recovery plans I have. No emotions. I did not blame to anyone. And because of this, something interesting happened. The tone of that meeting was changed. From the tone was earlier accusation. You're accusing someone. So from accusation to alignment, that was a tone change happening. Okay, so what is the core insight in this one? See, blame escalates when you react. Blame settles down when you stay grounded. Do you agree with me? Type yes in the comment section. Now the question is, in that situation when someone is blaming, someone is putting you the comment, and that time, how can you shift? How can you maintain your groundedness and avoiding any emotional reaction? To have this, to build this mindset, or to behave in that situation with the grounded behavior, I want to share with you three practical shifts that you should implement right away in your day-to-day job now. So the first shift is, obviously, when someone is putting a comment on you, okay, this is the natural thing with all of us. We become defensive, okay, and I just want you to be avoid being defensive. I want you to move from defensive to neutral. See, when blame comes, obviously our instinct is to defend, but defense creates friction. Okay, instead of saying, instead rather than defensive, I want you to stay neutral. So when you are neutral, you should say, okay, I understand your concern. Let's look at the facts here. Or you can, your job is to take them and give them an entire context behind the situation. You can say, I understand your concern. Thank you for sharing it with me. Let me walk you through what actually happened. Okay, so you trying to give them a context. Now here what happened, you remove the emotions, because if you also start defending, it will create friction, and that friction will go into the, very uh, augmenting negative discussion, difficult conversation. So by you being grounded and you giving them, taking them towards context of the situation, you removing the emotion, you bringing clarity, and you're staying in control. Now, I learned this from a very great book by Marshall B. Rosenberg. Now, the book name is Non-Violent Communication. Okay, in this book, Marshall said that separate your observations from judgment. Okay, please note this down. You need to separate your observations from judgment. That was the shift number one. The shift number two, see, there is no point in getting into this blame game. Okay, I want you to please move from that blame game mindset to shared responsibility mindset. There is no point who is right, who is wrong. Don't play that game. Move to what is the need of the hour, what is the need of the time right now. Okay, what needs to be done right now. So you can say, okay, I understand your concern. Regardless of where it started, here is how we can move forward. So what you're doing here, you're now shifting the focus. You see, we as a leader, our job is to move people. We our job as a leader is to shift people towards the action, towards the decision, towards the bringing the solution. So you need, we this is our job to shift the focus and then reduce the conflict. And obviously we want collaboration, so we need to increase collaboration. So I learned all of this, from another book called Team of Teams by Stanley McChrystal. Now, what Stanley said in this book is that high performing team focus on the shared mission, not individual blame. So, whenever there is a situation, we have a conflict in the organization or your team, rather than playing that blame game situation, blame game, move people towards the solution, towards the action, what to be done right now. Okay, that's a shared responsibility for every one of us. That's a shift number two. Now the shift number three, again, when you are in the blame game situation, when you're in the defensive mindset, our inclination goes towards what proving ourselves, proving my team, proving what we have done, what is right, what it's not our fault, it's someone else's fault. Again, move from proving mindset to solving mindset, problem solving mindset. And this is the biggest shift again. So stop trying to prove that you are right. Start solving the problem. You can say, yeah, we understand your concern, and this is the we also understand that there's impact of this on our timeline, on our cost. Now we have reviewed the situation. Here are the three actions we are taking immediately to recover the situation. However, we'd like to have a quick discussion with you, if to check if if you have something to share with us. What happened here is, you are not just acknowledging, or you're just not accepting, but you're trying to be proactive, you're trying to be taking ownership of that problem, and you're telling them what exactly you're going to do. This will reduce their panicness and anxiety. Now you showing the leadership because you owning that situation. And through this, the other person, the stakeholders, they started believing, they start putting faith in you, that you are not the only person who only coming up with the problems. You actually knowing the problem, and you proactively taking the decisions also. So you are thinking thoroughly. That's what the message you passing to them. And you are the one who moving the room forward, not the backward. And this is again, I learned from a book called The Lean Startup by Eric Rice. Now, Eric said in the book that focus on action and iteration, not perfection. Yeah. So focus on action and iteration, not perfection. Okay. So in the meetings, I would like to share with you some practical phrases you can use in the next meeting when something such a situation happens. Phrase number one: if you are in such a situation, you can say, I understand the concern. Let's look at the facts right now. Here is what actually happened, and here is what we are doing next. That's it. Three simple steps, no other blah 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 things, simple things. Okay, I understand your concern, you're acknowledging. Let's look at the facts. So that means you're moving them towards the context, the situation. And then you also showing them, here's what actually happened and its impact. And now, we have done our analysis, and here is what we are doing next. That's it. Okay. It won't take more than even 2 minutes, honestly speaking, or 3 minutes maximum. So we're closing to the we are coming close to the topic of today's topic, but I want to share with you something. So next time blame comes in a meeting, do not react, do not defend. Stay calm, stay clear, and stay solution focused. Because the average people, the average managers, they they start justifying, they start defending, they start explaining the things unnecessary, over explanation. But the people who are having leadership mindset, they move people, they take out the people from that misery to the solution side, or to the problem from solving side. And they move people towards, they shift the focus of the entire room, they stabilize the thermostat of the room. Okay. If you don't, then the thermostat of the room will increase, and that will again get into the some negative side. Okay. Now whatever I just shared with you, if this made you reflect, I want you to comment calm in the comment section, because that is where your leadership begins. And in case you are someone who actually experiencing such a challenges while project management, your day-to-day project managerial activities, and you want to build your project leadership capabilities, you want to go move into the project leadership level, I want you to have a one-to-one with me and join my and connect with me, book a one-to-one slot with me. There is a link in my LinkedIn profile also. Okay. And the good thing is, this Saturday at 10 a.m., I'm conducting a webinar on project leadership mastery. There, I'm going to share with you my three-step formula, the influential leader formula, where which will help you to build the trust with the people, build authority with the people, and also build your influence, and finally the legacy. Okay, I'm going to share with you with the examples there. So please go and book your slot there. The link will be again into the comment section, and that's on Saturday 10 a.m. Okay, so that's it for today. I'm going to sign off from Bangalore now. This is your leadership coach Tushar Chaudhary. But tomorrow I'll come back again with one more leadership insight. Okay, and until that moment, implement what we learned today and take care of yourself. God bless you.